Hey, Mike with Nerd Problems Gaming here. In today's video, we'll be covering another new Steam sale and 10 more great Steam deals worth buying, so let's get into it. The first game is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. And this game is an action platformer Metroidvania set in an ancient mythological Persian world. And you'll play as a young hero Sargon that's a warrior from the Immortal clan. And he goes on a quest to save the kidnapped prince. Now the controls are incredibly tight and the platforming and combat is incredibly fun. It has really cool time manipulation mechanics as well. And for a Metroidvania, it's pretty robust and it's probably going to take you around 20 to 30 hours to complete. There's lots of unique boss fights and really cool biomes to explore. And if you're looking for a new fun Metroidvania game, I would recommend picking this one up. The next game is Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Now this is an open world RPG set in the Dragon Ball universe, and it takes place over the story of slightly the end of Dragon Ball into Dragon Ball Z, and if you get the DLC, it dives into Dragon Ball Super as well. And what's cool about this is it's more than just a linear play one story arc to the next, as it does have that open world experience, so you'll be able to fully explore in addition to taking on these classic story elements of the Dragon Ball saga. And so there's lots of secrets to find around the world, plenty of side quests to take on, and engaging battles scattered throughout the world as well. And so the combat is definitely fun and engaging, but it's not quite as complex as something like a Dragon Ball Sparking Zero or the Budokai Tenkaichi series. It's more of like a simplified version of that, but it still is a lot of fun. On top of that, there's a robust skill tree that you can build out, unlocking new abilities for your heroes. And there's also an extensive soul emblem and community board system where you'll be able to mix and match different builds for your heroes to unlock unique abilities and to power up certain aspects to fit your playstyle. I think if you're a fan of the Dragon Ball universe and open world RPGs, this game's a must play as well. The next game is Scarlet Nexus. Now this is a fast-paced action RPG, but the story is pretty convoluted and almost hard to follow at times, but it takes place in a futuristic world that's filled with sci-fi action and plenty of twists and turns to keep you on your toes, and it has a really cool anime art style to go along with the game as well. Now combat really focuses around one character that you're controlling, but you'll also have a team of AI characters that will help you throughout battle as well. And with that, combat can be pretty intense as you'll be pulling in a lot of different environmental factors into the combat and battle as well. And so you'll need to strategically plan out your attacks based on the environment, the characters on your team, and your own abilities to defeat the enemies and bosses. Along with this, there's a massive skill tree that you can unlock and progress, which will enhance your character's abilities over time. It has fully voiced cutscenes, and this really helps pull you into the story. There's also 2 different playable characters that you can play the game through, which adds replay value to the game as well. I think if you like fast-paced action RPGs, this one's worth checking out as well. The next game is Vengeful Guardian Moonrider. Now this game is a fast-paced action platformer that feels like a retro-inspired combination of Ninja Gaiden and the Mega Man series. And through this game, you're going to be playing as a cyborg that goes rogue and tries to take on an evil, corrupt government in a dystopian future in order to save humanity. And throughout your quests, you'll be challenging other cyborgs that are on the government side, and this feels like that Mega Man aspect where it has a stage select and you can choose from different cyborgs you want to challenge, and then you'll proceed through more 2D side-scrolling levels and action platforming. But there are some unique level designs thrown in the mix to keep up variety, such as more vertical scrolling stages, climbing through elevator shafts, and even a 3D motorbike scene, which is another really cool aspect as well. And as you defeat bosses, you'll unlock new abilities for your character, but it was a little bit different than the Mega Man series where to me it didn't really seem like certain powers were weaknesses to other bosses, but more so just powered up your abilities and was a stronger attack. There's also plenty of hidden secrets throughout the game that can power up your character's abilities. You'll find different chips that you can use and mix and match, which can adapt your character's powers to fit your playstyle. There's also a ranking system depending on how well you do on the levels, so that's fun trying to get a better rank and continuing to play through them, which adds to the replay value of the game as well. But I think if you like retro-inspired action platformers, this one's worth playing as well. The next game is Blossom Tales. Now this is a retro-inspired action-adventure game, very similar to the classic titles from the Legend of Zelda series, and so it's a top-down dungeon crawler action-adventure. Now the story is told as a fairy tale by a grandfather to his two grandchildren. And one of them is Lily, and she ends up being the protagonist of this game. And so as Lily, you'll play as a young knight that goes on a quest to save the king who's been placed under a curse of eternal sleep by his evil brother. And so throughout your quest, you'll be visiting different areas and biomes across the world and diving into dungeons, trying to find key ingredients that can revive the king. And so it does follow that classic Zelda formula of visiting a new dungeon, finding items, solving puzzles, unlocking new abilities, and taking on boss fights. And there's certainly more of an open world feel to the game where you're free to explore, but there are definitely certain areas you're supposed to go in order to unlock the new ingredient to save the king. Now there's all kinds of classic items you can find along the way in your quest, so you'll find things like a sword and shield, bow and arrow, boomerangs, and much more. And I will say it doesn't necessarily stray too far from the classic Zelda formula, but that's not really a bad thing as this game is a ton of fun. The only potential downside is it can be a little bit easy compared to maybe some of the early classic Legend of Zelda titles. Either way, it's a ton of fun, and if you like action-adventure games, I would definitely recommend it. The next game is Kao The Kangaroo. And this game is a retro-inspired 3D action platformer similar to classic titles like Mario 64 and Donkey Kong 64. And you'll play as a young kangaroo Kao that goes on a journey to save his sister and uncover the mystery of his long-lost father. And so as you play, you'll explore multiple different areas with plenty of collectibles to find and puzzles to solve along the way, and each is topped off with a unique boss fight that centers around combat, but also some puzzle solving elements as well. And throughout your journey, you're also going to find different elemental power-ups that will enhance your boxing gloves, and these lead to some unique mechanics, dealing different elemental type damage, but also assisting with puzzles scattered throughout the game as well. I think if you enjoy classic inspired 3D platformers, this one's worth checking out as well. The next game is Yggdra Union. And this game is a unique fantasy-based strategy RPG, and you'll play as Yggdra, a young girl whose kingdom has been overthrown by an evil empire, and you'll team up with some unlikely heroes to go on a quest to save your kingdom. And I think where this game really stands out is its combat, as it's quite unique for a strategy RPG. And it feels like a combination of a card battler meets tactical RPG meets turn-based RPG. And so throughout combat, you're going to need to use cards to activate abilities like movement and attacks. But depending on the cards that you use, how you maneuver your team across the map in relation to your enemy is going to dictate the battle that takes place and who takes part in it. And so it definitely takes a lot of strategy and planning if you hope to survive through this game. And it also features a lot of inventory management where your heroes over time are going to lose morale and you're going to need to use items to restore that so they can fight another day. And so again, I think if you like strategy RPGs and want to check one out with a unique twist, I'd recommend checking this out as well. The next game is Owlboy. Now Owlboy is a fun action platformer with a charming story and great pixel art style. And you'll play as a young Owlboy Otis that's mute and has really been deemed unworthy and is looked down upon by his clan. And you'll actually need to go on a quest and an adventure to save his village from pirates and to unravel the mystery of his Owlboy heritage. And so as I mentioned, it's an action platformer, but there's somewhat of a twist to the game where the majority of your action is going to be done via flying and controlling other characters to unlock new abilities. And so as you progress through the game, you'll find additional characters which have unique abilities And this kind of feels like a Metroidvania almost, and can aid in exploration, where as you discover new characters, they'll unlock these new abilities which can help you access new and unique areas in the game. The game isn't too long. It's probably going to take you around 10 to 15 hours to complete, but it is a lot of fun and it's a cool action platformer, and I think if you like what you see, you should check this one out as well. The next game is yet another zombie survivors game. Now, as the title suggests, this is a zombie survival game similar to the Vampire Survivors game, but it's more of a modern setting with 3D graphics and takes place during a zombie apocalypse. And there's not much of a story beyond that, and so to start off, you're going to choose from different playable characters, each one with their own play style and ability set. And so once you choose that character, you're going to start your run and need to take on waves and waves of enemy zombies in hopes to survive. And as you progress through the levels, you'll actually team up with other survivors that you find, and you'll be able to eventually form a team of 3 to continue to take down the hordes. And this is cool, as I mentioned, because each character has their own unique play style and abilities and build, and so you'll need to strategically plan which characters you want to keep around, how you want to form your team, and eventually what powers to unlock as your characters level up and progress. Now, I will say the game is in early access still, but it is a fun experience, even though it's maybe not quite complete yet. But with the price that it's at and how fun it is, I would definitely recommend this one as well. The final game on today's list is a Plague Tale bundle. Now, this is actually 2 games, but these are action-adventure games mixed with stealth. And you'll play as 2 young siblings as they try and escape the Inquisition, along with surviving a deadly plague that's ravaging the land. And so the first game follows them as they try and escape the Inquisition, and the second game is very similar, but now they're a little bit older and also trying to find a cure for the younger siblings' disease. And so the stealth mechanics really come into play as you're taking on and hiding from the different Inquisition soldiers, and it almost felt like a puzzle game mixed with a survival horror game in those instances. And then also the chilling scenes with the rats and the hordes of them climbing everywhere and dodging them was pretty intense as well. I think the graphics and voice acting really brings you into the games and really immerses you into it, making it more intense and a lot more enjoyable. And so I think if you like action adventure games and stealth games, maybe even survival horror games, you'll like this game as well. And this bundle is a great price to pick them both up. But again, that wraps up our list of 10 more Steam games worth buying in this latest Steam sale. But let us know in the comments below, are you gonna pick any of these up now that you've seen that they're on sale? Have you played any of these before? Let us know your thoughts on them in the comments below. And if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button as it really helps out the channel. And another really cool way you can help support the channel is we actually partnered with a company, Geek Crate, that puts together various bundles. So whether you like things like Harry Potter, Pokemon, Naruto, Marvel, and more, they've got different bundles for everything. They have a subscription service you can take advantage of, or buy just one-time bundle packs of various items. And so if you did want to check that out and help support the channel, head to nerdproblemsgaming.com/Geek Crate, and you'll actually get 15% off your order and help support our channel at the same time. So if you want to take advantage of that cool discount, be sure to head there as well. And if you like videos like this on video games, board games, and everything nerdy, check out one of our other videos here. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new nerd videos we put out, and so you can take advantage of future sale videos so you don't miss out on any of these great deals. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.